connection for the first game because it will comes very soon, very soon.
Thank you very much, Antoine. All the best for this edition. The first team to face
competition. The way you start sets you up well or not so well, depending how it goes. So it's going to be a big focus on a proper performance to start us off. We're off to Portugal later on today. We've a nice training camp there, and then transfer across to Paris early next week. So yeah, it's a short turnaround, not a whole lot of time, but it sharpens the mind definitely, and it's one to get excited about. It's always a privilege, as Jamie was saying. You can never take it for granted, especially being in the roles that we are in as leaders. It's such a special tournament. It's towards the pinnacle of the game, and yeah, it's always an exciting time of year.
Thank you very much, Phil. I mean, everybody's waiting for that. How has the Six Nations contributed to the sports growth in general?
Well, a lot. I think it's for sure the main event that has been followed for the last 20-25 years in rugby. I mean, you mentioned like the stadium in Rome. You know, to have a couple of sold outs, it's pretty much amazing. You know, having a lot of crowd coming in there and cheering for us. A couple of times in the last couple of years. Obviously, consistency of performance. This is something we were really looking forward to. Like we've seen, when we are at our best, we can actually like compete against anyone. But at the same time, you know, to be able like a bigger picture for our team. Generally, obviously, very young team, so a lot to grow and to improve on. But at the same time, you know, we want to get to that consistency part where we can really step onto the pitch and know that we are gonna face a big challenge with our like strength.
Ultimately, what we go on the pitch to do, I think, you know, new coaching staff and new squad coming together has been, you know, a nice fresh start for us. Steve's brought a lot of that first game up against England. Is going to be massive for us to go and test ourselves against the best, and like Caelan said, that momentum in this tournament is huge. So yeah, anything we can get from there, then you just carry on into the next.
That game to come again.
Yeah, 100%. I think like there's a lot going on in Welsh rugby at the minute, but I think that's something that can really take your mind off things.
Game against Italy, which has been a problematic game for us, to be fair, over the last couple of years, and especially over there in Rome. And I think the progression that Italian team has made, I don't think we can think about England yet at all. And I think especially with the new format, with the 3 games on the bounce, I think the more we can take it one game at a time and you know, earn another week together and get the ball rolling. Like I say, momentum's such an important part of this competition, and I think it'd be foolish of me to start thinking about England before taking on Rome and Italy.
And that's going to resonate with my last.
Not achieved yet, but you know, that is the goal heading into every tournament, is to touch the trophy, and I'd like to think that is our ambition. But like I said before, our main focus is.
Well.
I'll have to know the one
Gonzalo. You want to repeat a little bit? Okay, everyone down to B. So you'll forget. Good.
Just for proof that we're doing
More
something.
smiles out. That's it. Okay, lovely, yeah.
Ellie, can you come up?
It's right, yeah. I wonder if you just...
We need to move back for the flash.
Yeah, so you're fighting and everything. Oh, just going to say something. Right.
Sorry, the door's open, Billy.
Like if we were to get the shot, but then Barney's to the issue, you know?
greatest one, so where's the Billy, do you want that palm with the ball? The greatest one.
You've got the job. You've got the job. No.
Okay guys, straight down to Billy please. Serious for this one, guys, please. Nice and serious, everyone. That's it, nice and serious. Hey, can you turn a little bit out? No, you're right. Can you turn a little bit? That's good. Okay, hold on there, guys. Guys, straight in here. Okay guys, straight to Billy for me please, nice and serious. Yeah. Okay.
Look at this, what's in the rudder?
There's some white stuff and then more.
George, look to the ball. I've always wanted to slap. Drive it in. Go.
Both kids still the ball.
Oh, you go faster again.
Okay, go with them. Let's go. Head up. Let's go.
Where it was, and that was it.
Got the back room up, and I got those those big things, chip benches with the pictures behind them.
Yeah.
Like when we moved into the back room. Okay, so I'll be doing this now.
No, I look fat and horrible.
I can go ask Scotland International.
Yeah, go for it, man. Yeah.
No, but if you ask him if you. Is it snowing out there? And I actually wish it was snowing. I think getting a few of them.
It's college. It's where James Bond ends up going in the book.
The ball on top of the bar and then
so that's a shot signed by all our players that played that day, and that's one for the only other thing that's
was it Roman?
yeah, that is Roman. I don't know if you start one. You do a start one. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And that's the university's shot from the same game. That was their commemorative shot from the same game.
What's the yellow one? Is that
That's
French as well? Ah,
that's Romanian.
that's cool.
Alright, Ewan, would you mind presenting yourself full name, title, please?
Good morning, my name's Ewan Alexander. I'm the president of the Edinburgh Academical Football Club and I'm in my second year of a 2-year term.
Thank you. So it's one thing to be the president of a rugby club, another to be the president of the oldest rugby club in Scotland, whose grounds goes to the first international rugby test match 150 years ago. Can you please tell us how the club is structured today? Your first team is in the Scottish National League Division 1. How many other age categories compete at the club today?
So we run 3 senior teams. Our first team and our second team play in a formal league structure. We also have a senior vets team who play a handful of matches, mostly against touring teams throughout the season. Then we have a minis section which runs from primary 1 to primary 7, and just this season we've started our own independent middies section, and that currently is under 13, under 14 and under 15 level, and we're looking to expand that next season into under 16 and then ultimately to under 18 level as well.
Thank you. The club is today exclusively a rugby club, but it wasn't always the case. Can you tell us a little bit around the history of the club?
Yeah, sure. So where Rayburn Place was actually initially set up as a field to play cricket on for academicals who had been at the Edinburgh Academy. The cricket club was set up in 1855, so 2 years before the rugby club. The rugby club was set up in 1857, and both clubs continue today as independent entities. The cricket club doesn't play here at the moment. They play at the school grounds because they had to relocate when the redevelopment of the clubhouse was done a few years ago. But in terms of rugby, The first match that was played here was on Boxing Day 1857. It was a match between the Academicals and the team from Edinburgh University. The match was set up as a best of 7 goals, because back then it was only goals that counted, not tries. And it was to be played on consecutive Saturdays until someone got to 4. So on the first day, on Boxing Day, the university scored 1 goal. The next 2 Saturdays, no goals were scored at all. And then on the 4th Saturday, the Academicals scored 4, so won that match by 4-1. And that's the history of the first game that was ever played here.
Thank you. How many members does the club have today? How many players in total are registered at the club?
In terms of overall membership, we're just around about 500, and that includes our juniors and senior members.
And well, obviously with the history in the club, how does the club continue to celebrate its legacy as the location for the first international test match? What highlights that at the club ground?
I mean, it's something that we're very proud of. You would see around the clubhouse that we've got mementos of that. There's the picture behind me of former international players. We find that people actually visit the ground because of that, because we're the oldest club in Scotland, because we hosted the first international. We also find that teams who are touring want to come and play here because of the importance of the ground. So it's all it's a combination of things, but these are the main ones.
And do you sense that the youth team players take pride in being part of such a historic club? Any questions?
Quite describe the impact on the young children of seeing people like Harry at St. Martin here, and that does clear aspiration as well as play rugby. In fact, we can see it.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I think the fact that the club has had so many internationals and so many successful players definitely attracts people to us, and I think it gives the youngsters of today something to look up to. And we've got so many good examples of that, and Harry's a brilliant one.
Perfect. Thanks so much. It's very overview. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, talks about this great stuff. Edinburgh itself is such a historic city as it is, but there's big factories.
Clubs around Edinburgh as well, so we've got lots of good rivalries, lots of good friendships, and it's really one of the great things about rugby.
Lastly, find out what do you want the story to go far and wide, so more people are aware of the impact of this area, this club, on world rugby in general.
Yeah, I mean, we as I say, we are very proud of our heritage and our involvement in the game of rugby, and we love telling the story. We would love the story to be, as broadcast as far as wide as possible, and we'd always welcome people to come, and we're happy to talk about it with anybody.
So, Richard, if you mind introducing yourself and giving us a little introduction of your background and your relation to Quebec.
Yep, my name is Richard Bath. I'm a rugby journalist for about 35 years standing. Have edited rugby magazines, written half a dozen rugby books, and I have a relationship with Accies through the fact that I've done The Great Game, which was an hour-long documentary about the 1871 match. It's one of the most storied clubs in world rugby. My kids actually played here. I've coached here. It's a wonderful club, but more than that, it's a thread that runs through Scottish rugby right from the beginning to the present day.
But what are the main legacies from the first test match? Rules, symbols still remain today that emerged during that first test. So we jerseys, emblems, the ball, the pitch. Points mark, big question, quite large.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff. I mean, basically, it was the first time that a match had obviously been played across borders, and they had different laws at the time. So they had to codify the laws. So there were various things. So, for instance, they agreed on 20 aside. And the shirts, obviously, they always played before with caps. It was the first time they'd had actual shirts. And so this is a new thing, and obviously that happened from then on. And everybody thinks of Scotland as being blue and England as being white. But actually that came from this game. England decided to have white because it was the colour of rugby school, which is where it came from, and the red rose emblem is actually the emblem from rugby school. So that's why England play in white. Scotland play in blue because there's a bit of debate. They don't know whether it's because it's the colour of Oxford University, which is where a lot of the players went, or because it's the colour of the saltire. But either way, it set a precedent, and ever since people have played in shirts. There were various other things as well. I mean, because of the match, the laws were actually codified the next year, which allowed the match to the game to expand around the world and to explode in popularity, and meant that everybody was playing with the same laws all the time. So, for instance, when the England players arrived here in 1871, hacking and tripping was a commonplace in the game. Everybody did it. The referee, Healy Hutchinson-Almond, for whatever reason, decided that he didn't want it, and he banned it from the game. And thereafter, it was banned forever. So that was something that came directly out of this game, and it's still with us.
Thanks. Well, my next question was about the rules and aspects of the game that still remain today. So a number of players we did touch upon and said, we see we've gone a big way. But maybe just on the point scoring, how there's been a big change. What from that first game to today's time? When did the main evolution happen?
Well, there have been lots of evolutions. I mean, again, there was an evolution just in that game. I mean, you could only score if you converted your try, and in England, when you scored, when you went under the post, you could then kick the ball back, and where it landed was where you kick the conversion from. Whereas in Scotland, you kick the conversion from where you went over. So again, that's another really straightforward example of how the game changed the way we score and the way we play the game. I mean, obviously there have been changes ever since in terms of the way points are scored, but that was the starting point.
Today, it was a real sort of rivalry between the two countries. But what was it like then? Was it just they were looking for a fun game of rugby, or was it? No. Actually,
there was a lot of controversy. There have been in the year before, or in the 2 years before, a couple of games of football, supposedly between England and Scotland. But the problem was at that stage there was only one football club in Scotland. Nobody played soccer in Scotland at all in 1870. So they had a game in England where the English organisers got a whole bunch of guys who'd been to Scotland or had Scottish grannies, or they weren't really Scottish players because nobody played football in Scotland. And England won, and everybody in Scotland went nuts. And that was basically the genesis for that was the kickstart for the game, because they said, right, well, we should have a game, but we can't play soccer because nobody plays it. Let's play rugby because that's what we do. And that led directly to the game of rugby in 1871. And actually, that game of rugby in 1871 then kick-started proper football internationals. And in 1872, they had the first proper England-Scotland football international.
Yeah, to name just one or two people, or the individuals who run the most organisation of that first international test.
The organisation, I mean, there was Healy Hutchinson-Almond, who was the head of Loretto, which was a leading rugby school, was very, very involved. He was the ref, or the umpire as they called it then, and was very involved in the formation. There were 5 clubs, actually, that met in a pub, the representative of 5 clubs, and they issued a challenge, and the challenge was taken up by a guy called Benjamin Burns, who was actually an Ackie. He was a Scot, but a banker working in London, and he was the secretary of Blackheath, and he accepted it on behalf of the English clubs and put together the team, and actually ended up playing. He was initially going to play for Scotland, but then England was short of players, so he played for England. And there were a couple other guys who were playing it for English teams, but he was Scots, who ended up playing for Scotland. So Benjamin Burns would be one of the main guys. Moncrief, who was the Scotland captain, and Stokes, who was the England captain, are all very involved. But I'd say the 2 main movers were Benjamin Burns and Healy.
Just when I asked the question, just when you start your answer, pick up from the question to introduce your answer.
Okay.
Yeah. What was the result of the first test?
the result of the first test was a win by Scotland. 2 tries and 2 tries and 1 converted try to a single try by England. The first try was actually scored by Angus Buchanan, who went on to be immortalised in Harry Potter. There were 4,000 people at the game, which was astonishing. I mean, I think the English were amazed. They came out for what they thought would be a kick-around friendly. And A, it wasn't very friendly, and B, there were 4,000 people here. I mean, it's interesting. They took over £200 at the gate, and the tickets cost £1, which was 20% of a working man's daily wage. So they were quite expensive. And the yeah, actually, I'll stop there. That's
well, yeah. The key moment that allowed for the first test to take place took place at a pub. The pub was where people gathered to make that initial call to have the game take place. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, as I said, there was a. I'll start that again.
Just the whole point here is the anecdote. The fun part is that people sat at the pub.
Yeah, no, I get it. No.
Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah, obviously most of the clubs are peripatetic. They didn't really have grounds, so people would meet in pubs, and that's where they met to arrange the first international. As I said, there were representatives of 5 different clubs there. Accies were one of them, west of Scotland, St Salvatore in St Andrews were another, and they got together and over many pints thrashed out. Well, they got more and more annoyed at the fact that there was this football game which had really bugged them all, and that was really what drove the whole idea of having a rugby international. And so they got together, had a few pints, got more and more angry, and then they decided that they would put a challenge into the Scotsman newspaper and into Bell's Life, which was a sporting magazine that was published in London as well. So they put in a challenge to an England 20 to come up and play them at rugby at any time, at a time of their choosing, and at a place of their choosing, and that's how it all happened.
Right. And this might be a question. How many more international test matches were played at Red Hat Place?
In all, there were 10 test matches played here, or 10 matches between England and Scotland, and that's including the 1871 match. They actually played at other places as well. So there was a match at Hampden Park in Glasgow, and there's a match at Powder Hall here. But this was the main base for Scotland until the early 1890s, and then they moved to Inverleith, and then obviously onto Murrayfield. But this is where it all started.
And there's a link between rugby and Harry Potter that started with the first test match here. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, the link between the 1871 match and Harry Potter is J.K. Rowling, who's a bit of a rugby nut and follows the Scotland team very closely. And she, in 2014, she has a website which she puts stories on, and one of her stories was about Angus Buchanan, who scored the first try, and her thesis was that he was a squib. Apparently that means somebody who has no magical powers but is born to wizarding parents, and his parents found out that he had no powers and exiled him, and he decided to atone for his lack of magic powers by becoming excellent at rugby, and then he scored the first try in the first international, and all was well.
Love that. Yeah. So watching your fantastic documentary, I understood that less than 2 weeks before the match, they didn't know where it would take place. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, the venue was obviously. Sorry, the venue for the match really had to be in Edinburgh. Most of the players were from Edinburgh. There were quite a few from Glasgow, but the majority of the players were from Edinburgh. And Raven Place was the obvious place to have it. It's a 10-minute walk from Haymarket and from Waverley Station. Got great links, and a lot of the players lived around here. The problem was, Raven Place wasn't a rugby ground. Raven Place was a cricket ground, and it was the academical cricket ground. club that owned this. And so they had to petition the club to allow them to play here. And there's quite a lot of opposition because, well, we've all seen what rugby players can do to a cricket ground. And it wasn't until 2 weeks before they had a meeting up on George Street, and Accies offered them what they thought was a ridiculous sum of £13. And the cricket club, who were, like all clubs, wanted a bit of money, they bit their arm off. And as I said, they brought in £200 on the day, so it was actually a really good investment.
Nice. What was the kickoff time for that first match? And you mentioned a video piece. Were there tickets to attend the match, and how much they cost?
Yeah, the match took place. It was a lovely sunny afternoon. Took place, I think, about 3 o'clock, usual time, and the tickets were £1 each. And apparently, the contemporary reports talk about the crowds coming down the hill from the new town and from the station. In a great sort of wave of supporters. They were almost all men. There were a few women around, but it was almost all men, and they were members of the gentry who could get the day off to come and watch the game.
And the legacy of the game. How was the result covered in the media? And how did the sport develop in the following years? So probably 2 questions there, but
no. The result of the match came as and the sheer size of the crowd came as a surprise to everyone.
We play this kind of games.
There are new faces and changing within the squad. Also, given your captaincy and role of number 9, does that bring extra responsibilities?
I already have had this kind of role in the team. I had to be a leader, and I think I'm well surrounded in the team by other experienced players who helped me a lot. So it's just an honor.
We were used to see
7 years, so I think we'll have to try this connection for the first game because it will come very soon, very soon.
Thank you very much, Antoine. All the best for this edition. The first team to face
competition. The way you start sets you up well or not so well, depending how it goes. So it's going to be a big focus on a proper performance to start us off. We're off to Portugal later on today. We've a nice training camp there, and then transfer across to Paris early next week. So yeah, it's a short turnaround, not a whole lot of time, but it sharpens the mind definitely, and it's one to get excited about. It's always a privilege, as Jamie was saying. You can never take it for granted, especially being in the roles that we are in as leaders. It's such a special tournament. It's towards the pinnacle of the game, and yeah, it's always an exciting time of year.
Thank you very much, Caleb. I mean, everybody's waiting for that. How has the Six Nations contributed to the sports growth in general?
Well, a lot. I think it's for sure the main event that has been followed for the last 20-25 years in rugby. I mean, you mentioned like the stadium in Rome. You know, to have a couple of sold outs, it's pretty much amazing. You know, having a lot of crowd coming in there and cheering for us. A couple of times in the last couple of years. Obviously, consistency of performance is something we were really looking forward to. Like we've seen, when we are at our best, we can actually like compete against anyone. But at the same time, you know, to be able a bigger picture for our team. Generally, obviously, very young team, so a lot to grow and to improve on. But at the same time, you know, we want to get to that consistency part where we can really step onto the pitch and know that we are gonna face a big challenge with our like strength.
Ultimately, what we go on the pitch to do, I think, you know, new coaching staff and new squad coming together has been, you know, a nice fresh start for us. Steve's brought a lot of that first game up against England. Is going to be massive for us to go and test ourselves against the best, and like Caelan said, that momentum in this tournament is huge. So yeah, anything we can get from there, then you just carry on into the next.
That game to come again.
Yeah, 100%. I think like there's a lot going on in Welsh rugby at the minute, but I think that's something that can really take your mind off things.
Game against Italy, which has been a problematic game for us, to be fair, over the last couple of years, and especially over there in Rome. And I think the progression that Italian team has made. I don't think we can think about England yet at all, and I think especially with the new format, with the 3 games on the bounce, I think the more we can take it one game at a time and earn another week together and get the ball rolling. Like I say, momentum's such an important part of this competition, and I think it'd be foolish of me to start thinking about England before taking on Rome and Italy.
And that's going to resonate with my last.
Not achieved yet, but that is the goal heading into every tournament, is to touch the trophy, and I'd like to think that is our ambition. But like I said before, our main focus is.
Well.
I left in the North with the ones
Sorry, big go away.
second to the left, sure.
Gonzalo. You want to repeat it a little bit? Okay, everyone down to B. So you forget that.
Just for proof that we're doing
What
something.
smiles are? That's it. Okay, lovely, yeah.
Ellie, can you commit?
It's right, yeah. I wonder if you just
think so. The player's gonna. Yeah, no problem.
Because we need to move back for the flash.
Yeah, so you're fighting there. I was just going to say something. Right.
Sorry, the door's open, Billy.
I thought we'd get like if we were to get the shot, but then Don used to do the issues, you know.
We're not doing it.
You think, yeah, that's smart. That's smart.
Yeah, I mean, there's Six Nations and maybe the.
And then next we go into the big group shot.
Thanks.
Greatest one, so where's the Billy, do you want that palm of the ball? Yeah, give him a
The greatest one.
You've got the job. You've got the job. No.
Okay, guys, straight down to Billy, please. Serious for this one, guys, please. Nice and serious, everyone. That's it, nice and serious.
Hey, can you turn a little bit out? So you're right, can you turn a little bit?
That's good. Okay, hold on there, guys. Guys, straight in here. Okay, guys, straight at Billy for me, please. Nice and serious. Yeah. Okay.
Get some wide stuff and then more.
George, look for the ball.
I've always wanted to flat. Drive it in. Oh, you go faster again! Okay, go with them. Let's go. Head up. That's it, Will. Just down.
Forward, Bertie. Forward, Bertie. Forward, Bertie. Go forward, Bertie.
Where it was, and that was it. Got the back room up, and I got those those big things, the chip benches with the pictures behind them.
Yeah.
It really, like so you moved it into the back room. Okay, so I'll be doing this now.
No, I look fat and horrible.
And overseas, in Australia,
Well, I can go ask Scotland International.
Yeah, go for it, man. Yeah.
No, but if you ask him if you. Is it snowing up there? I'm actually going to say that's I think getting a few of them.
It's Scottish. And it's where James Bond ends up going in the book.
And we are live. Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Sports. It is a Six Nations Saturday. We've just seen an epic game between Ireland and Italy. And I'll tell you what, Italy could have done it. They could have done it. And quite happy with that. Trying to sort of settle into things, really, and get into their business over Murrayfield as he presents. And Mitchell goes to the boot, lifts it high in the air, and an early tester here for Carl Stain. Ball comes backwards, I think, off England, but Solomon Tupi just come away with it, and he's kicked it ahead. Now the race is on. Hugh Jones is going back. Looks like Mitchell will get there first. Has he turned the right way? A couple of Scottish players all on him, and he does get a clearance. Not the best clearance. Very, very good work that from Serena Tupilotta and some of the other backs to get there and apply the kind of pressure that forces that kind of kick to the left-hand side. And now attacking line here from Scotland. How they will love to get a attacking line this kind of early and make it count, really, to sort of throw the gauntlet down. Because that's what they need to do. They really need to start well, put England under a bit of pressure, and get some confidence back. They would have lost a lot of confidence after they lost last weekend. Not a loss that they would have been expecting. But you go and bounce back against England, and you really a brand new hope. That's a nice skill carry there coming from Tupilotta. And inside ball there. Very nice line being run. Good work early on here from Scotland. Once quick ball, pops it up short. Very good work. Finding meters every single time. Back inside. Tom Jordan. Interesting selection of fullback Tom Jordan. Now here's the big man, yes. Gregor Brown, who's been brought into the side. Grant Gilk is one of the most experienced Scottish players. Dropped from this weekend's game in favour of Gregor Brown. So opportunity for him to sort of prove his worth. Now a couple of carries going backwards. England defence starting to rally a little bit. But Scotland still inside the 22. And have got a penalty advantage as well. Free roll the dice. Russell thought about whether to switch and play. Ben White, bit of pressure. Jack Dempsey throws one player down to the ground. Ball available now for White. Slow ball though for him. Goes short. Xander Ferguson makes a yard or two. Really good work this year from Scotland. Finn Russell tries to build to the left-hand side. He does get intercepted, but not held on, and will go back for the penalty. Big moment that for Scotland to sort of settle into the game, get yourself in a bit of momentum. Momentum's a strange thing as well. You know, get yourself a couple of early moments, a couple of small wins. And I think that's where Scotland will be very, very happy with those minutes over there. And they take the points over here. So it's a nice early win that from Scotland. Get themselves to England territory. Get themselves some go-forward ball. Take the points. Take the 3. Get the scoreboard ticking. And put yourself on top from the get-go. I think it's good. It's a good decision here coming from Scotland. And I tell you what, speaking of Gregor's, obviously Brown in for Grant Gilchrist. But Gregor Townsend, under pressure. And I think rightly so. You know, he's produced some incredible moments over the years for Scotland. But at the same time, you kind of feel they've almost sort of peaked to a certain degree and aren't really producing. And they've gotten to the point where, no issue from there from Finn Russell, they've got to the point where, like, beating in England, for example, especially in Six Nations, has become quite sort of normal. But now they want more. You know, they want to compete for the Six Nations. That group stage exit in the World Cup was only excused because of the kind of group of death. But they're a side that's not beating big sides enough. Are Scotland, not with some of the players that they have. And I think in that regard, there needs to be proof that he can still move them forward. Beating England, especially with the fact that England have been very good in the last calendar year, and that they use the ball forward as they go down, does England. That's a big statement. Yes, it's a team that they have beaten over the last few years, but England have become a lot better. So it's a much bigger win if they win now than maybe it was a year or two ago. So big opportunity this evening for Scotland, and I'd love to see them get a victory there. And you can see that ball goes down. Ben Earl, as he goes down, will tackle Tupelotas, loses 4. Our first scrum of the day will be on the right-hand side, just outside the 22. In the front row for each team. And for the Scots, it is Nathan Macbeth, George Turner, and Xander Ferguson. Nathan Macbeth, the former Lions front row, not the British and Irish Lions, the Joburg Lions. And they're up against Ellis Genge, Luke Cowan-Dickey, and Joe Hayes. Interestingly, Scotland are 15 kgs heavier, lighter rather, than England. And I always say that Scotland are lacking 2 world-class locks. I always think that the engine room is what lets Scotland down. They don't have, you know, you look at some of the best teams in the world, and they've got, you know, Atiba Fomont, for example, from a French point of view. You look at Ireland, and you know, James Ryan's done a good job. You've got Tyre Byrne, who often plays in there. You look at South Africa, you've got your Archie Sneymans, your Evan Etzebeth, Luat Diagas, Franco Mostards. You look at New Zealand, and for years, you know, your Brodie Retallix and Sam Whitelock and Josh Lord coming through now. You've got to have a world-class, I always say, you've got to have a world-class second rower in your side to be compete at the highest level. That kind of enforcer role, that solid line option as well. Your engine room is called the engine room for a reason. Without an engine room, you don't tend to win a lot of games. So that's why I've always been a bit critical of Scotland and said that they're kind of missing that to a certain degree. But anyway, they do get the free kick at the scrum, and we'll return the favour. Freddie Stewart in the number 15 jersey for England. Now Finn Russell looking for options. Goes to the boot once again. He'll return the favour, and he'll go back towards George Ford, number 10 to number 10. George Ford, however, shaping to run. Now he'll go for the kick, and Freddie Stewart will give chase, but it's looking for distance rather than a contestable. Finn Russell, pretty comfortable underneath it. He decides to run, gets away from 1. Goes to the left-hand side. Tom Jordan now. I still don't understand what Blake Hingle is not doing in the side, but opportunity now. That's a nice big carry there. Then good intent coming from, I think it looks like Gregor Brown there. And that's what they're kind of missing, is that person who's willing to run into contact, get over the advantage line, do the dirty work, really. As contestable goes up and comes free from Carl Steyn. Good contestable, I think, knocked backwards from England. But comes back the way of Scotland, though. Finn Russell with a bit of space. Tupeloto, long pass out wide. Numbers on the bounce, though, to Dobie. What a player he's becoming in that sort of hybrid role, being able to play in the number 9 jersey, being able to play in the number 11 jersey as well. Finn Russell goes short. Looking for options. Good defence, though, from England, though. Reading it well so far. Now to the right-hand side on the front foot. Tupeloto, no look pass. Finn Russell. Carl Steyn with a bit of space ahead of him. Carl Steyn comes inside of Ben Earl. Gets the ball thrown away as well. Hugh Jones inside to Ben White. Ben White to the right-hand side. Brought down inside the 22 is Rory Dodge. And they've conceded the penalty, and this could be a yellow card. It is going to be a yellow card for England. Referee saying that this is cynical play. And it's going to be Henry Arundel who is going to go into the bin. A big moment in the game early on here. Once again, Scotland showing how lethal they can be on the counter-attack. Very big early call here from Nika Amashakili, one of the best referees in the world. And going to the corner are Scotland, so they're full of confidence here. Arundel makes the tackle and then over, never releases, says the referee, and hands in on the ruck. I think that's probably more the issue, more so than anything else. Right, big moment in the game here. Right, more defence now, yeah, from England. Important more defence. So far, coping pretty well. But 10 men in the bin. Ball available for Ben White. Dodge. Always a hard worker, Rory Dodge. Now, Hugh Jones pops it up for Finn Russell. Finn Russell, not too many space on White. Starts to go himself. Gets away from one, though. Eventually brought down Mario Turgeon. Not too much direction there from the Scotland attack, but they do retain position, which is the important thing. Now to the right-hand side. Nice big carry there coming this time from Nathan Macbeth. Starting to really sort of put his hand up for a Scottish career. They've got Pierce Schoolman coming off the bench, Mr. Reliable. Oh, Finn Russell, dirty. Just passed it wrong. And Hugh Jones got the pace. Hugh Jones in the corner. Finn Russell, magic. Hugh Jones finishes. Scotland hits with the first try of the game. And it's just a Finn Russell pass on pass. Space out wide. Hugh Jones looks up. He's got Mario Turgeon in front of him. There's a one-man overlap because of the yellow card. And what do we say? Scotland in the Calcutta Cup are a different beast. Yeah, I see. He goes up here to Tom Roebuck, and that's what creates the overlap. And then Hugh Jones up against Mario Turgeon. There's always going to be one winner there. Going to some of the comments, by the way. Mega James said, let's go England. And Bab Hodgkinson says, I was so proud how the players sang their hearts out of their national anthems. I love the bagpipes and them singing a cappella. I had goosebumps and teary eyes. They made me feel so proud again. Millennium Stadium, Murrayfield. My two bucket list stadiums to go to. Scotland at Murrayfield, Wales at the Millennium, to hear those anthems. And you're right, it's just that whole, the bagpipes early on, then it stops and the crowd continues to take it forward. It's just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And Steve Borthwick, you can see for Australia 10-0 now after 11 minutes. Perfect start this year from Scotland. The question is, can they keep this sort of momentum up? Can they really keep putting England on the back foot and make this count? Maybe try and get another few points in with that yellow card in the bin with Henry Arundel off until at least probably about the 16th odd minute, I'd imagine. Ben White goes to the boot, lifts it high in the air. Couple of chases there. Hugh Jones will look to compete. Knocked backwards, but then into the hands and then down and forward, though. And this is the problem. England at the moment making all the mistakes. Guy Pepper this time not able to hold on. But you look at the error rate from England, it's very high. The error rate from Scotland, very, very low. In fact, I don't think they've actually made an error yet. They've yet to concede a penalty. They've yet to knock something on. They've haven't put a foot wrong. And England at the moment, 2 knock-ons so far. 2 penalties conceded. It's a lot of it's to do with the pressure coming from Scotland, but this is where you talk about the difference between the two. And when you've got an error rate as low as Scotland, however, they're going to go back. And there's a penalty actually against England for a no, or tackle off the ball, I think is from what Amashakeli is signalling. And you see what I mean? Silly penalty. Absolutely no need for that. Allow Scotland not to have a scrum, but to actually have a penalty. And all of a sudden, they'll have a free exit. Finn Russell will be able to get this at least 20, 30 meters downfield, probably towards the halfway line. And they'll have the feed to the line now. So everything so far very much going the way of the Scots. Finn Russell, it's a very good kick. That's actually past the 10-metre line. This would be an attacking line out. Xander Ferguson looking at, oh, who would have thought it's Luke Cowan-Dickey with a grass cutter tackle? Surely not. He is, I don't understand how he's not been banned for it. Good line though from and the wraparound. Now his numbers here. Finn Russell puts his head down. Finn Russell. Bit of space out wide. Dobie brings it out to Carl State. Carl State comes inside. Moves away from one. Carl State just short. 5 metres out. Scotland. Quick ball here coming. To Finn Russell. Long pass out wide. Tubolotto. Tubolotto. Sends the long pass out wide. He's got all the time in the world. And he's just going to basically stroll over. Is Jamie Ritchie as Scotland go bang, bang. It's scintillating stuff. And this is the thing. You watch them when they play like this and you think, why can't they do it more often? Where is this sometimes? They're 15-0 up after almost not even 40 minutes so far. England look absolutely shell-shocked. And this is basically a first phase try. I mean, it's just the wrap around there, long pass out wide, second phase, off they go. He had about 30-odd metres to Jamie Ritchie. I mean, he's far from the fastest man on the field. But he had all the time in the world just to stroll over. And Finn Russell not putting a foot wrong so far. He is 3 from 3 off the tee. 17-0. 17-0 after 15 minutes. What a start this was from Scotland. Murrayfield's absolutely rocking. Great pass as well from Tubolotto. Well, it's the start that Scotland wanted. The question is, how long can they keep this going? Can they keep this sort of pressure on? There's plenty of time in the clock. 65 minutes, well over an hour left to play. So, far from done. But I think if you're told Gregor Townsend is going to be 17-0 up after 50 minutes, you would have bitten your hand off. Right, Ben White. Goes downfield, finds touch. We'll take it quickly. No, great touch find as well from Ben White. I mean, that's almost by a 10-metre line. So all the pressure just continuously being put back on England. Scotland have been flawless, absolutely flawless. I don't think I've seen a 15 minutes like this from Scotland in a while, in fairness. Yeah, as mentioned, long way to go, but the main thing is when you have these sort of passages of play where you are all over an opposition and you feel you've got the minute, you've got to make it count. You've got to convert that into points. That's sometimes where I felt the Box last year very, not always, but very occasionally just weren't able to do. They weren't able to always capitalize on the kind of pressure they had. Scotland, on the other hand, have done exactly the opposite and have made it count. 17 points within 15 minutes is the perfect start to any rugby match. Now, they've got to try and maintain that. And England have got a rare spell of possession as Mitchell goes to the back and will go to the boot. Lots of changes here now for England. Is that a penalty? It is indeed a penalty. Roebuck has been impeded off the ball, says the referee. So first penalty from Scotland. First opportunity for England to just sort of settle down, put the ball downfield, maybe create a set piece for themselves. We're going to end the poll here, which we said who they said will win. 58% actually said England. A bit of a sketchy lineup, but it comes eventually away to the hands of Sam Underhill. And now England on the front foot, inside 22. First opportunity. Can they take it? Can they hit back? I'm going to try, and they're right back into it. As I said, long way to go. And now Scotland's defence is going to be tested. That's a nice tackle, though. Driving Luke Joe Hayes back. Joe Hayes, rather. It is Genge now. Always a go forward ball. This time, not as go forward as you'd like. Presents well, though. Mitchell. Underhill. Good defence this so far from Scotland. Needs to be careful, though, not to concede a penalty. So far, doing that very well. Quick ball, bit of space out wide to the left-hand side from England, but it goes straight to the hands of George Ford. Fortuitously, goes into the hands of, I think it's Fraser Dingwall. They're looking to hold him up, though. As the referee called him more, he has indeed turnover ball for Scotland. So first time that they've been tested and the defence is held. Lonely Montu says, got to get one more try here and hopefully dig in. And Hatch says, well done, Scotland. Obviously, the shock tactic have paid off. Yeah, but now you gotta ride the wave, but you gotta keep the pressure on, and not pull a Scotland where basically you kind of switch off and all of a sudden you can concede 2 tries very quickly, which they do have a habit of doing. First things first, extra the scrum under a lot of pressure. They do concede the penalty. They've done exactly opposite of what I just said they need to do. Get out of here. It is an area where I think England will feel they could get into Scotland's heads and put a bit of pressure. And George Ford wasting no time to put that out in the corner. So England will have an attacking on the 5-metre line. And, Genge has just done a job there on Xander Ferguson. Very good scrum from him. Good more defence so from Scotland. We're looking to try and go around the corner. Yeah, Luke and Dickey controlling things in the back. They do break. Scotland need to scramble here. England on the front foot. Slight stutter, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop this on Scotland. No, they've just stopped it. I think I just stopped it. It's just short. Just short. Good scramble defence from Scotland. Now to the left-hand side. Goes with South Mitchell. Wrapped up. England on the doorstep here. Looking positive. Pick up and go. Good work they've been done by Ollie Chesham. Now Cowan Dickey. Scotland digging in, yeah. Tackle back onto the ruck. Good line being run there. And it's Freeman. Ball over the top, though. And I reckon one more phase. There should be there's space out wide if they can get it, but he goes himself, and they're going to go over. And it eventually is Henry Arundel. He's just come back. I still actually haven't even taken off the screen. And that's what I mean by Scotland have got the capacity to concede points. England have responded very, very well. He's just come back on the field. It's the perfect way to make up for it. Right in front of the pole. This will be no issue here for George Ford. And that's a big moment for England. After being a bit shell-shocked, it's important to come back and score points and they get the opportunity, which they do. Saw the dummy did George Ford and just waited for the line, and Henry Arundel, well, he strolled straight over. And that in itself, that picture there, shows you what's very important about England. They've got a big bench to come on. They've got big game players to come on in the second half, in the likes of Henry Pollock. They've got a 6-2 split. They've got Finn Smith on the number 23 jersey. Tom Curry, Alex Coles. It's a very, very good bench. And Finn Russell doing the right thing, just taking his time to get back to the halfway line, trying to slow things down. 18 minutes left in the half. Scotland now, to be fair, Scotland now just need to play a bit of a game management scenario. Get yourselves into England territory. Try win a penalty. Try and add some points and make it 20 points to 7. That's a nice chase they're coming from Carl Steyn. Find those kind of moments. Just small, small moments. England, on the other hand, will be looking for every moment to try and make a difference and try and swing the momentum. And does go to the boot and will find touch. Decent clearance, that. Very decent clearance up towards the halfway line. Some of the comments, unfortunately for Lonely Lemon, they did not dig in. Well, they tried to, but couldn't. And Hash says that Molan pushes old England play dangerous when they're close to the line. Agreed. James Deling says, let's go Scotland. And Lonely Lemon says, I would take 77 at half time. I think any Scottish fans would, to be honest. Right, Scotland now. Tupolotto gets in the inside. Always finds half gap, doesn't he? Oh, and there's an interception from Ollie Chesham of all people. He's read that like a book. England now on the attack. Forward looking for options. Finds... Well, it's not sure that's the right option. And hacks it away. Goes Ben White, but he's not found touch. Now space push forward. Decision time for him. He's running towards a bit of support. Now straightens. Goes back around the right side to Mitchell. Mitchell sees half a gap. Mitchell gets through. Jamie Joya makes a good tackle. Out towards the 22 here. Get his gauge to behind as he knocked it on. Yes, there's the penalty advantage here. Did England, I think, what is the call? Offside? There's indeed offside. Unoriginal says, I'm at work. Has England been playing bad or Scotland been playing well? A bit of a combination, to be honest. Scotland started like a house on fire. That yellow card probably made a big impact, but just this typical sort of Scotland when they're good. A couple of dummy runners looping around, finding that space, and two very good tries. But England, in their defence, since they've had the ball, have also looked very dangerous. So, trading blows at the moment. A bit of an old-fashioned boxing match where it's just kind of I jab, you jab type of situation. Big decision now for England. It's right in front of the poles. They are going to take the points. I think it's the right decision. Get themselves within 7 points. Lonely Lemon says, "Oh God, we're falling apart so Scottish." Well, this is what I was saying earlier. Unfortunately, Scotland have got the capacity to implode. But similarly to what we were saying about England, it is still a long game. 15 minutes to go. So I don't think, even England taking the 3 points, it's not a bad sign from Scotland. The fact that they say, you know what, we have been outplayed for probably the most of the first 25. Let's just put some points on the board. And if we sit there at halftime going 17 points to 7, despite not playing particularly well, we'll probably take that. And they are now going to be 17 points to 10. Right, restart and Benno underneath it. 17 points to 10. High scoring game. We're scoring more than a point a minute at this stage. So expect some points in the next 5 if we were to keep going in that kind of trend. As Mitchell launches it downfield. Up against the touchline, but doesn't find touch. Inside from Jordan. Finn Russell, seeing a bit of space. Finn Russell decides straight and go himself. Ball over the top towards Carl Steyn with a bit of space. Carl Steyn comes inside of 1 and 2. Still going as Carl Steyn. Still going as Carl Steyn. Eventually brought down just past 10-meter line by Mitchell. Quick ball here from wide. Russell. Not too many options here from him. He gets away from 1. And he gets away from another one. He's still going as Finn Russell. Puts the little chip in the head as well. It is Genges going back of all people. And he's not able to score over. That is bizarre. Oh, you got to feel for Ennis Genges. I mean, why of all people is your lucid prop the one going back? And he goes to slide together, but it's just not a pie at 5 o'clock. It's not that easy for him to gather, and he's knocked it backwards. And Ben White is I think it's Ben White, is the beneficiary. No other options there. The tackling is horrendous from England. Just draws it forward. Ennis Genges does so well to get back, but just can't gather. And White is there, springs on it, and Scotland. Well, I'll tell you, it's not one of your more orthodox tries. You got to feel for Ennis Genges here. You do think if that was a pint after the game, he'd smother that up. And unfortunately, it's a wet rugby ball, and he hasn't been able to do it. And look at Gregor Townsend. He is elated as Scotland look to try and make the lead 14 points now. Finn Russell, as I said, he's been 3 from 3 off the tee. And he is now, well, it's a slide. No, it's a straighten. He is 4 from 4 from the tee and just controlling things so well at the moment. I mean, even that over there, 3 missed tackles on him. Oh, you got to feel for Ellis Genge. Also, a bit of an awkward bounce as he's going down, as bouncing up. You know, you'd expect your wings, your fullbacks to be able to do that very comfortably. I don't think that's a skill that Ellis Genge practices a lot, in all honesty. Good exit so far from Ireland and Scotland. They've lost set 22 though. And to the boot he goes. Ben White, not found a lot of distance. Will mean it'll be very contestable. And Murray Toje knocks it backwards, but into the hands of the Scottish, so they have to turn over possession. Ben White, Finn Russell goes straight to the boots, down the middle of the park. Going back there is George Ford, takes it well. Time and an option of Freddie Stewart in by the left-hand side, so he does kick it downfield. Freddie Stewart will give chase. This might be a bit too deep to contest, but he will be there for the tackle. And Tom Jordan takes it well, rides 3 players, and gets a few seconds up in the air before the rest of the Scottish pack do manage to scramble. Now to the left-hand side, Finn Russell once again goes to the boots, immediately going to the boot, and he's bounced at just inside. Is he going to hold up? Awkward up actually for George Ford. Goes inside to Freddie Stewart. Freddie Stewart's looking to run, tucks the ball into his right arm. Looking for options, pops it over. Ben Earl steps aside of 1. Opposite number eventually makes the tackle. Now to the left-hand side. Murray Toje. Nice big hit there. Eventually brought down on the 10-metre line. England now to the right-hand side. It is Gaines looking to try and make up for it. Big K from him, but a good tackle coming from Scott Cummings. I think it was Xander Ferguson. It was indeed. Now a big carry there coming from Joe Hayes. The props getting involved. Back in the pocket. Ford says, right, let's go to the boot. Fraser Ding will give chase, and they knocked it forward there. It'll be a scrum. Finn Russell, very quick to say they knocked it forward because he had gotten that a bit wrong, to be perfectly honest, had Finn Russell. Exciting game. This is proper Six Nations rugby. Very, very exciting. Nice and physical, good tactical battle. We're seeing Finn Russell, for example, going to the boot so quickly. And it's an interesting stat where you looked at it over the last 18 months, teams that kick more generally win. And we're seeing Scotland do that a lot, basically. Just hammering it downfield, very happy not to have the ball. When they do have the ball, make it count. So it's been a good watch. As Lonely Lemon says, neutrals will be loving this. Yeah, 100%. Speaking as a neutral. I'm going to start a poll saying, is Finn Russell the best number 10 in the world currently? And if you don't think he is, who do you think it is? So a lot of South Africans will be on the Sasha train. Remain Intermac might feature. I don't think Sam Prendergast's going to feature after last weekend. Maybe he'll make a bit of a comeback in the next couple of weeks. But if you don't think it's Finn Russell, who would you back as the best 10 in the world? $24 points to 10. 9 minutes left on the clock. It is a Scotland scrum inside their own 22. And in fairness, last time they had this kind of position of a scrum, they actually lost, they conceded the penalty. So important that they get this under the feet of the hooker. Let them bring it right back and get out of it. So George Turner needs to make sure that, and again, they've conceded the penalty. This is going to be a problem here for Scotland. Mitchell grabbing the ball, looking to go back for a quick tap, and George Ford will kick this to the corner. And this is what I'm saying. This is the last time they conceded that scrum at the penalty. They ended up conceding the try. So that could be 2 scrums conceded and potentially points conceded from both. George Ford does take this up. But yeah, so 67% so far saying yes, he is. And as I said, if you don't think he is, then drop in the comments who's your man. Who would you back as the number 10? Best number 10. I think he is. I think he's the best number 10 in the world. I think Sasha's the most exciting prospect in the world at the moment. You know, him, Henry Pollock, for example. Josh Lords, very exciting prospect. But I think Finn Russell has become so mature in the way he plays. I think he's just got absolutely everything. Good more defensive so from Scotland. Had they gone through the legally, Scott Cummins seems to be on the ball. And he seems to be all over that ball. And if that goes down, he's not going to have to release. That ball's actually been lost forward. They've done very well there, Scotland. However, that is only half the job done because now they need to win a scrum, which they haven't done. So it's a big maul defense. Scott Cummins did very well to go through and get his arms all over Lukai Dickey. Eventually forced a knock on. But again, it's a half win. It's a big celebration, but it's a half win because their scrum hasn't been good so far. They get that ball back to number 8. They get it back to Finn Russell, and they kick it outside the 22. Then that's a win. That's a win. Connor says the Bocco 310's better than Finn. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe 2. Unfortunately, as much as I love him, on form right now, I definitely wouldn't say Andre Pollard's better than Finn Russell. Lonnie Ebok, I'm very open to conversations. But on current form, I don't think you could argue that Andre is currently playing better rugby than Finn Russell is. It is finally a position, though, that the Boks do have depth in. Very, very chuffed about that because we went into the last World Cup with one recognised 10 and Damian Willems as a backup. Now we've got 3 genuine 10s in the squad, and that's without Damian Willems, who I think, this is my early shot for the year, Damian Willems for World Player of the Year nomination. If he plays a full season, if he plays the entire year, Damian Willems for World Player of the Year nomination. That's my early shot, my February prediction. And to be fair, I did say it in January as well. Well, they have got the ball back, and Tupolotto pops it up. They're looking to run inside their own 22. Long pass out wide to Carl Steyn. Surely a chip and chaser. No, Carl Steyn on DV. He actually never does chip and chases, Carl Steyn. If you look at it, he's a player that just doesn't kick. He never kicks the ball out of hand. But like Johan van der Merwe. I don't think Johan van der Merwe knows how to kick. I think it's a skill that he just never really learned. And Ben White now, they're still at the set 22, does find, I mean, that's a phenomenal exit, really. Find space out wide, get up towards the 10-meter line, then also up towards the 22, then kick for touch, find touch inside England territory. So you've basically gone from being on your 5-meter to past the halfway line. You don't get much better exit than that. Risky exit because they ran outside the 22. But when you're playing with confidence, you can afford to do things like that. And in the end, the net result is a line out inside England territory, which is a perfect result. Good line out that though. Now England, 5 minutes to go, and good, almost a very good read there coming from Finn Russell. Got through, but then couldn't quite make the final tackle. Ball eventually available for Alex Mitchell. Slow ball this year from England, looking to go to the left-hand side. Does go to the left-hand side. Ben Oil pops it up for Dingwall. Almost missed it to Clown Dickey. Comes back inside. Does Sam Underhill. Now Mitchell to the right-hand side. Forward, goes to the boot. Splits the 2 Scottish players in half, but eventually can't bounce to Carl Steyn. Now he will look to kick it. And finds a very good touch finder. Will Freddie Stewart take it quickly? He won't. Back to basically the same spot, just past the halfway line. Very nice clearance there from Carl Steyn. Educated just up the road from where I'm sitting, actually. Carl Steyn, Trinity House. Over in Rand Park. About a 20-minute drive from where the current studio is right now. Now a bit of space to the left-hand side. Solid carry there. Eventually brought found back as he managed to, no, lost it backwards, says the referee. Oh, jeepers. Carl Steyn has been taken out. Referee has awarded the penalty. I don't think he's going to be able to card. I think he just gets the timing slightly wrong. Now there's a couple of words being said, but he stayed down here as Henry Arundel. It is a penalty for Scotland just outside the 22. Tupolotto's furious. So he's having a conversation with Amish Kelly. They might have a look at this in fairness. And they are going to have a look at this. So it could be trouble here for England. Right, they're going to have a look. Oh, I tell you what. So he doesn't go up, does Henry Arundel? Carl Steyn goes up. Henry Arundel doesn't go up. I'm interested to see what they're going to say here. He's not contesting as Henry Arundel. That's what the commentators are saying. It's a second yellow because Henry Arundel is obviously already on a yellow card. And which is going to be a red card. 20-minute red card is the only saving grace here for England, so they will be able to replace him. But Henry Arundel back in the England squad for the Six Nations, and that's the end of his game. Not for the rest of the match. It is a 20-minute red card as far as my understanding goes. But so they'll basically be out him for what, 3 minutes, then 17 minutes. They'll only be able to bring on a replacement for him in the 53rd minute. Well, and until then, they will be down to 14. Yeah, and that's the problem. You know, there's a big push between protecting the player in the air, and unfortunately, at this stage, you've got to contest. Whether you agree with it or not, you know, running underneath, for example, is not contesting, not considered contesting. But it's a big moment in the match now. England down to 14 for the next 20 minutes. Right, well, now England have the ball, yeah. We've got 90 seconds left on the clock for the first half. What a first half it's been. It's flown by. And I wasn't even like I woke up this morning, I was like, oh, I've got to watch along later. It's been a long week. And I was like, I hope it's just a good game. And I tell you what, got more than I bargained for. This has been an absolute cracker so far. Mitchell chips the ball over. Ball back inside. Finn Russell's got a bit of time, yeah. Just finds a clearance. And the main thing here from Scotland as well is they don't need... Not panic's the wrong word, as he takes it quickly as Freddie Stewart. But Scotland now don't... The last thing they need is to now overplay it, overcomplicate it, overthink it. Tom and Dickey now. So Scotland, like, for example, right now, Scotland just need to defend. There's 40 seconds left on the clock. Just don't concede a penalty. Don't concede points. Go into half-time with 14 points up the good. It can't quite take a knock-on advantage here for Scotland. Releases the call from the referee. Just run down the last 20 seconds. Get into the change room. Come back fine for the second half. Finn Russell. Now space out wide to the left-hand side. Now there's space for Jamie Dobie. Pretty awful chip and chase, in all honesty. He got straight into the hands of Freddie Stewart, who is a tall lad, in fairness. Brown, he's been good so far. It's been a good selection call so far from Gregor Townsend. However, one of the Scotland players is down, and I want to say it looks like Tupolotto might be the player getting attention. So currently 14 on 14. No, it's not Tupolotto. Looks like one of the forwards, actually. Looking at his heart, could be Jamie Ritchie. Yeah, I think it is Jamie Ritchie. And ball goes up and lost forward here from England. Hugh Jones with the ball. Hugh Jones will have to start field. The time is up. Probably should have just put it out, to be honest. Should have Hugh Jones. Now Freddie Stewart, he'll just say, let's kick this and go into the change rooms. Right. Half time, 24 points to 10. But more importantly, maybe, it is a 14-man England. It is Jamie Ritchie. That looks like the end of his game. So Scotland will have to make a change at half time. They don't have a 6-2 split, so that's not ideal for them. But what a half that is. Tupolotto having conversations with, looks like Tommy Freeman. Obviously, they would have got to know each other on the British and Irish Lions tour a year ago. Big game so far. Big half. Big half to come. 14 points for the good Scotland in the Calcutta Cup. And there's lots of words happening on the halfway line. between the various players. Some of them will know each other quite well, having been on the British and Irish Lions tour, some of them not as well. But let's see what the second half holds. At the moment, 24 points to 10. Don't go away. We'll move into a short break. When we come back, hopefully another action-packed 40 minutes.
We play this kind of games.
There are new faces and changing within the squad. Also, given your captaincy and role of number 9, does that bring extra responsibilities?
I already have had this kind of role in the team. I had to be a leader, and I think I'm well surrounded in the team by other experienced players who helped me a lot. So it's just an honor.
We were used to see
7 years, so I think we'll have to try this connection for the first game because it will come very soon. Very soon.
Thank you very much, Antoine. All the best for this edition. The first team to face
competition. The way you start sets you up well or not so well, depending how it goes. So it's going to be a big focus on a proper performance to start us off. We're off to Portugal later on today. We've a nice training camp there, and then transfer across to Paris early next week. So yeah, it's a short turnaround, not a whole lot of time, but it sharpens the mind definitely, and it's one to get excited about. It's always a privilege, as Jamie was saying. You can never take it for granted, especially being in the roles that we are in as leaders. It's such a special tournament. It's towards the pinnacle of the game, and yeah, it's always an exciting time of year.
Thank you very much, Caleb. I mean, everybody's waiting for that. How has the Six Nations contributed to the sports growth in general?
Well, a lot. I think it's for sure the main event that has been followed for the last 20-25 years in rugby. I mean, you mentioned like the stadium in Rome. You know, to have a couple of sold outs, it's pretty much amazing. You know, having a lot of crowd coming in there and cheering for us. A couple of times in the last couple of years. Obviously, consistency of performance is something we were really looking forward to. Like we've seen, when we are at our best, we can actually like compete against anyone. But at the same time, you know, to be able like a bigger picture for our team. Generally, obviously, very young team, so a lot to grow and to improve on. But at the same time, you know, we want to get to that consistency part where we can really step onto the pitch and know that we are gonna face a big challenge with our like strength.
Ultimately, what we go on the pitch to do, I think, you know, new coaching staff and new squad coming together has been, you know, a nice fresh start for us. Steve's brought a lot of that first game up against England. Is going to be massive for us to go and test ourselves against the best, and like Kaelan said, that momentum in this tournament is huge. So yeah, anything we can get from there, then you just carry on into the next.
That game to come again.
Yeah, 100%. I think like there's a lot going on in Welsh rugby at the minute, but I think that's something that can really take your mind off things.
Game against Italy, which has been a problematic game for us, to be fair, over the last couple of years, and especially over there in Rome. And I think the progression that Italian team has made, I don't think we can think about England yet at all. And I think especially with the new format, with the 3 games on the bounce, I think the more we can take it one game at a time and you know, earn another week together and get the ball rolling. Like I say, momentum's such an important part of this competition, and I think it'd be foolish of me to start thinking about England before taking on Rome and Italy.
And that's going to resonate with my last.
Not achieved yet, but you know, that is the goal heading into every tournament, is to touch the trophy, and I'd like to think that is our ambition. But like I said before, our main focus is.
Well.
I left in the worst way in the one, so.
Sorry, the way past. One, no, they're saying that yeah, yeah. I know.
Second to the left, sure.
Gonzalo. Give it a little bit. Okay, everyone down to B. So you'll forget that. That's fine.
Just for proof that we're doing something.
Smiles out. That's it. Okay, lovely, yeah.
Charlie, can you come up?
It's right, yeah. I wonder if we just... We need to go back for the flash. Yeah, so you're fighting there. Oh, just going to say something. Thank you.
Sorry, the door's open, Billy.
totally get like if they were to get the shot, but then all these things that you should know. I know.
That's more.
Yeah, I mean, it's Six Nations and maybe both. Oh, well.
Okay, and then next we go into the big group shot.
Thanks.
Greatest one, so where's the Billy, do you want that palm with the ball? No, the greatest one.
You've got the job. You've got the job. No.
Okay, guys, straight down to Billy, please. Serious for this one, guys, please. Nice and serious, everyone. That's it, nice and serious.
Hey, can you turn a little bit out? No, you're all right. Can you turn a little bit?
That's good. Okay, hold on there, guys. Guys, straight in here. Okay, guys, straight to Billy for me, please. Nice and serious.
Luke knows that he's going to wait.
Right, and we're back for the second half. What a first half it was. Scotland 24 points. England 10. England down to 14 men. A second yellow card for Henry Arundel. And we are back underway at Murrayfield as Spinoza goes down to the right-hand side. England will be able to replace Henry Arundel in about 16 odd minutes, I think, maybe a bit less actually, probably about 12, 13 minutes. But yeah, and the big thing is, can Scotland capitalise on the numerical advantage in the second half? They've been very good, have Scotland. England fought back and had a good about 10-minute period, but in general, Scotland have been the better side. Very fortuitous last try in that a bit of a counter-attack. Ellis Gaines not being able to gather the ball on the ground and popping up for Ben White to go over and be the beneficiary. However, there's still plenty of rugby to play. Ball over the top, though, to Tupoloto of the line. That's a bit of a variation coming from Scotland, who lost Jamie Ritchie. I'm trying to say, I don't think he came back on to Jamie Ritchie. Oh, inside ball there, and that is the replacement for Jamie Ritchie. So, Matt Ferguson is onto the park. Nice player, Matt Ferguson. And he has replaced Jamie Ritchie for Scotland, who have got a 5-3 split versus the 6-2 split of England. But England have conceded, Scotland rather, have conceded a penalty for holding on. George Ford not wasting any time. Kicks it straight on the left-hand side to touch. And important, I think from England point of view, they want to strike first. That's the big thing. If they score the first points in the second half, for example, one try and they game back on. But similarly, one try for Scotland and kind of almost not quite game over, but Scotland go 31 points to 10 up. That becomes a big margin. Try and overturn 21 points, man down for another 15 minutes. That's a big ask. England score a converted try here, and they're on the run with them running more. They get themselves within 7. They bring on another man, 15 on 15. Then all of a sudden, no need to panic just yet. Interesting how games of rugby can just sort of ebb and flow. As Mario Tojo goes to 22 metre. This was very good from England. But then they knock it on. And that's kind of summed it up. Every time they've showed promising signs, they've made progress. It's just too many mistakes, really. It's the error rate, I think, which has really killed England so far. Going to some of the comments. Alex says, remember Scotland, we have to play for the next 40 minutes. Come on, boys, keep your heads. Craig Moore says, go Pom squad, Pollock. And Connor says, we need the Scots to humble the Poms today. Ryan says, get it up, you England. Lonely Lemon says, come on, boys. One last 40. Says, wouldn't be surprised if England score 1 or 2. We just need 2 of our own. Yeah, I suppose that's also one way to look at it. From a Scotland point of view, you got to almost tell yourself, we scored twice. We scored another 10 points, for example. So England right now need to make up 14 points. Scotland scored twice, 24 points. You got to try and overcome. So that's an interesting way of almost looking at it to a certain degree. Yes, you can go out and not score a single point. You can still win the game here. You can go out and just defend 40 minutes, but you've also got to be positive. Because if you do go score 2 tries, even convert one of them, all of a sudden England are having to try and overcome 24 points. And you've got to back yourself. When you think you scored 3 tries in the first half, surely you can try to score 2 tries in the second half, especially given the fact that for the next 10 minutes odd, you've got a one-man advantage. So they've got to be positive, Scotland. They can't go back into their box. That's what they don't want to do. They've got to make sure that they continue to be positive, that they continue to look at how they can score points, and keep that scoreboard ticking, really. This is one area, however, that England have been the better side. It's scrum time. And it's gone down once again. It's another penalty for England. Just as I said. Oh, but hang on. The referee, we're going to see a card here potentially from Xander Ferguson. I think he's going to get an official warning here from Amisha Kelly. Yeah, Xander Ferguson. If I was Gregor Townsend, I'd pull him off. You've got to pull him off right now. He's a good player, Gregor Xander Ferguson, but at the moment he's getting taken to the cleaners by Ellis Gaines. You've got to bring on Elliot Miller-Mills. At the moment it's a warning. Look, you do risk the risk of still him getting a yellow card, Miller-Mills, when he comes on. But at the moment, Xander Ferguson's almost guaranteed a yellow card if he stays on, because he's now conceded 3 push-come penalties. And all of a sudden, where we just spoke about the fact that they've turned things over, England are going to say, thank you very much, penalty right in front of the poles, take the 3 points. All of a sudden, they're back within 11 points. So this is why I say England will score points this half. Literally, we're about to score 3. If Honor can be positive and can go find, as Lane said, 2 tries, 10 points basically, I think that should be enough to get them the win. So they've got to be positive. George Ford is taking his time down as the shot clock runs down to 12, 11, 10, and 9, but no issues whatsoever, and he pops it over. With Xander Ferguson and all sorts of pressure. And it wouldn't surprise me if at the next scrum we do see Elliot Miller-Mills being introduced, see if he can try and add a bit of stability. They don't need to even match the English scrum. They've just got to try and not concede penalties at the end of the day. They don't have to go out scrum them. You've got to find a little bit of parity, just enough where you can get the ball under the hooker's legs, get it back to the back, and get out safely. Carl Staines, another good chase from him. He's been very good so far today as Carl Staines, but it's a well taken from England. It's a good drive as well, as they find a bit of space, as Elliot Gage moves a couple of players. Nathan Macbeth might not have enjoyed that quite as much. Matt Ferguson telling the referee surely they need to be kind down how long they're taking, as Mitchell lifts it up in the air, swirling around, and Carl Staines knocks that backwards, and into the hands eventually goes into Jack Dempsey's. Matt Ferguson, Jack Dempsey's, a lot of, a bit of pressure at Tom Jordan, but now Hugh Jones, good offload. Hugh Jones fires out Tupolotto. Tupolotto steps back inside. Tupolotto, a bit of lateral, straightens, eventually brought down by Ben Earl. Hamster Kelly almost getting taken out, the Georgian referee. Now, Finn Russell sees a bit of space, goes to the boot. You see them playing a pretty big kicking game, and George Ford does manage to take away cleanly. Now, he returns the favour down that left-hand side. Won't find touch. Into the hands of Finn Russell. Finn Russell shaping to kick it and to pass it to the left and side to John Jordan. Mitchell's on him, but Jordan gets away from Mitchell. Scrambles. Wasn't probably the right option, I don't think, from Finn Russell, but they've gotten away with it. Good awareness that from Jordan this time. Showing go there from Turner. And Ben White will just slow things down. This is the thing. Go back into a bit of game management mode sometimes. You really haven't had a good start so far, Scotland. So just get yourself a bit of territory back into the England half. Carl Staines makes a good chase forward. Goes to Tommy Freeman. Tommy Freeman not playing outside centre these days. It's an interesting experiment. It'll be interesting to see if he does settle there for England, or whether they do look to shift him to the wing. No Ollie Lawrence in the 23 today. Ford spinning around a couple. Oh, there's a bit of a juggle there from Tom Roebuck, who then comes back inside. Runs into Gregor Brown, who I tell you what, I think that's been an inspired selection from Townsend. A lot of people are talking about the fact that, you know, the second rows aren't being really rewarded and they're struggling a little bit. Ford a little bit in two minds there. Good tackle is coming from Tupolotto. But he's been found under the top of the ruck, and he will concede a penalty for not rolling. Yeah, Gregor Brown's been good. I've been very impressed with him. It was a big call when you go and drop the likes of a Grant Gilchrist, one of your most experienced players, but I like Gregor Brown. He's young bloke, 24 years old. He's gotten through a lot of work today. 110 kgs odd, so he's not a giant of a man, but he's a nice player. He is a good player. Plays his rugby for Glasgow Warriors. Ended up on the British Irish Lions tour as well. Bit of an interesting call last year. Not played as many games for Scotland as he probably have liked, to be honest, at this stage of his career. Rodney Moyer from England looking promising. To the left-hand side. Mitchell darts himself, gets the offload away. To the right-hand side. This was good there from England. Now Ford takes to the line. Good carry there. Now Tom Freeman. Ball available for Mitchell. England score here. They go within 4 points if it's converted try. And they would have done that all with a man down. Genge now. But a couple of players all over. They've waited for that opportunity. And they have won the penalty, I think. Knock-on is the call. They waited, they were patient, and given them the credit of Scotland, they were patient, they waited for that, and then two players right on the money there, forced a knock-on. I think could almost feel a bit agreed about not getting a penalty, but yeah, Good defense in the end. Nathan Macbeth is going to go off over here. Interesting decision that. And Pierce Cuban's going to come on. Xander Ferguson remaining on is, for me, is the interesting one there. He's having a conversation with the referee. Wants to maybe plant set and say, this is what's happening in the scrum. This is why I'm struggling. Mentioned to see if Amish Kelly takes a bit of pity or listens to him and maybe looks out for something. But the South African prop line in form of Pierce Kuman, what a player he's become. You know, I personally don't. I don't fall into the category of people who get upset when players move abroad and the likes of that. And I think Pierce Kuman has really embraced the whole Scottish vibe. Him and Jonathan van der Merwe, for example, got their own whiskey together over there. They're out there living their best life. He's played over 100 games for Edinburgh. Has Pierce Kuman. He's coming in on 50-odd caps for Scotland. He'll probably get that this year. Didn't get a cap for British and Irish Lions, but I felt he was unlucky not to get one, to be honest. I think he's been one of the form loose heads in the last couple of years. But a good player, a reliable player. I think that's probably what Gregor Towns is looking for right now. Just a bit of reliability at scrum time. So a lot of pressure under Scotland here. They've got to make sure that they get a good clearance, get this downfield, get it away from danger. And they do this time. And I'll tell you what, there's a bit of an overlap as well. So running outside of the own 22 is Hugh Jones, Ben White. Yeah, I'm not looking to kick just yet. I'm sure he'll come now here. Uses the call. Here comes a couple of blockers. Now Ben White will send it downfield. But they've lost set to 22, so this will have to be contestable. Now he goes for distance. Shoot underneath it. Roadblock for company. Goes himself to away from one. Runs into Scott Cummings. But Turner's all over that, and he's won it back, and then a knock-on coming from Xander Ferguson. Brilliant turnover from Turner. And Xander Ferguson just not able to hold on to it, unfortunately. Scott, maybe he's worth settling down a little bit there from Turner. A great turnover, I think, basically turnover in the turnover. Just popped it up and couldn't quite get there, could Xander Ferguson. We are going to have a break and play. There is a man down in the form of George Turner. Another position where I think Scotland are looking for a bit of depth. They're looking for options here. We've seen Dave Cherry obviously play lots of rugby at hooker. You've got George Turner. He's played 50-odd caps, but he's 33 years old. Playing for Harlequins this season. After a bit of a stint at in Japan. And here comes the England bomb squad, inverted commas. Henry Pollock being ready, but a sniffing salts for him. Looks like Bevan Rod coming on as well, or being ready to come on. And that's what Steve Borth was looking for now, impact. He's looking for someone who can come on and change. And here comes Dave Cherry, as mentioned. And this is the thing, you know, Dave Cherry, 35 years old, George Turner, 33 years old. Got to find the next generation of hooker for Scotland. And there is Elliot Miller-Mills. And I mean, to be fair to Dave Cherry, kind of Scottish career took a while to get going. I think he only made his debut at about 30-odd. Right, the left-hand side, go to England. Space out wide. Good meters being gained so far. Should tackle that. Still possession, and Dutoja goes to forward. Forward, the numbers out wide. Shows and goes. Freeman goes himself. Saw the 22. And back to get his Genge. Forward. Stewart, and his numbers out there. Burial comes inside. Good tackle there coming from Gregor Brown. That man once again. But pressure on Scotland. England going through the phases now. 7 of them. Mitchell arriving to the right-hand side. Forward. Dingwall. It's a great tackle that being done by Hugh Jones. Driving the man back, but more importantly, just giving them a half a second for the defensive line to try and regather. And reshape themselves. Genge now. Into Dave Cherry. Coming into the side with after the injury to Ewan Ashman. Over the ball, there's Dodge. Has he won the penalty? No, Sam Shakili. Desperate defence now from Scotland, who have had to defend all the time despite having the man advantage. Haven't really been able to make it count because they barely had the ball. England now, can they make this count? Ford's back in the pocket, and he is going to straight for the drop goal. It's been charged down, and I'll tell you what, the counter could be on here. Have they got the pace? Hugh Jones has got to have the pace. Oh, what a disaster for England. And look at the afterburners coming from Hugh Jones. He's deceptively fast. And Scotland, after being inside their own 22, weathering the storm, George Ford goes for the drop goal. It gets charged down. And I think it gets charged down by Jack Dempsey, actually. Then just pops it inside. And Hugh Jones, who's got plenty of pace, puts his head down. Off he goes. And that sums up pretty much the entire match. I mean, that could be the match. And this is what I'm saying. Every time England have been looking good, all of a sudden, bang, a fortuitous moment for Scotland, and they take it. And they take it. They've taken the opportunities really well today. That's pretty heartbreaking if you're an England fan. If you're a Scotland, I mean, Murrayfield must have been absolutely rocking on that charge die, and then the pace to get all the way. And Finn Russell taking all the time in the world, just pops it over to make it 31 points to 13. Bonus point try as well. It's Matt Ferguson, actually. Guys, and he's quick. He is quick. And they've lost possession here of Scotland, though. That's not how you follow a moment I get up. Inside ball there from Ford. Mitchell now. So when are we going to see some of the big lads? When are we going to see Henry Pollock, for example, being released? Itoje. Still going strong is the second row. It's been one of those nights for England, hasn't it? Down the right-hand side, England go. Still with that man advantage, but that's going to... Oh, cheaper. That's a big tackle coming from Scotland. Ford. Well read. Ball up to Chesham. Chesham's wrapped up quickly. And she goes to the right-hand side. Hayes. Ball on dodges over it and wins the penalty. Huge penalty that there from Rory Dodge. Just slightly isolated. And over it very quickly. He's been very good tonight as Rory Dodge. Penalty Scotland. 24 minutes left. And they'll have now time to breathe a little bit. And we could probably make a few subs. And we can get rid of that red card because that is going to be... He's going to bring the man on now. So, and the 6-2 spread is not ideal because they're going to bring on Finn Smith. In fact, they're going to bring on half the team over here. So that looks like a brand new front row. Henry Pollock as well with his characteristic nod. Loves the spotlight, does Henry Pollock. Probably gets a bit of unnecessary hate, but he's a big game player. George on as well. Pollock on for Pepper. There's a couple of subs over here. So it looks like Pollock's on. Looks like Bevan Rod's on. Jamie George on. I don't know if I saw Trevor Davison. I'm pretty sure I saw Alex Coles coming on. It is Alex Coles. So Mario Tojo will give way. And in fact, there's 19 seconds left. I was a bit preemptive on the red card. And then I'm sure we'll see. Actually, interesting to see. I mean, they could bring on Finn Smith. Shift. Interesting decision. I don't know what you do here. You could put Freddie Stewart at center. You could put Finn Smith at fullback or Ford at fullback, for example. You could put Freeman out on. Actually, I don't know how you read it. You could put Freeman out on the wing. That would be an easy one. And once again, put George Ford at fullback. Freddie Stewart center. I'm interested to see how they do this. To be honest. Knocked on, I think, there from Scotland on the contestable. It is a knock-on advantage, yeah. There goes Bevan Rod, his first carry. In fact, sorry, it's Joe Hayes. Mitchell now lifted high in the air. Couple after it, including Pollock. But Roebuck goes up, and that gets knocked down from England, so knock-on advantage. And they'll go back for the knock-on. Right now, I think we'll see a player come on. Now it'll be back to 15 on 15. So numbers will be even now. No, that's what I'm saying. Very interested to see how... Is Finn Smith gone to fullback? Or I think he's gone to centre here. Yeah, I think he's gone to inside centre, or Ford's gone to inside centre, and they've pushed Tommy Freeman to the wing. And Fraser Dingwall will go outside centre. They have options in fairness. Very sure could play in the centres. Finn Smith could probably do a job at fullback. George Ford could do a job at fullback. But if you go and look, by the way, at the Calcutta Cup, for example, England won last year, which was the first time they'd won it since 2020. Right, scrum time now. So I still want to see how this England backline is sort of lining up. Right, to the right-hand side, Finn Russell looking to the overlap. He comes to the overlap. They use it in the first half very effectively. And you see, there's the flat pass to Carl Steyn, comes back inside. Making lots of means with that. It's the same thing that they use in the first half. Maybe not quite the same effect. Finn Russell not going the long pass. All the players coming up. And they've lost it forward, have Scotland. Yeah, I think just good defence. Good pressure coming that from England. Got up nice and quickly. And stayed down here, though, has Looks like it's Tom Roebuck. Now, they can't afford an injury there because if it's another England injury, they've only got one more backline player, which means that you'd be bringing on Ben Spencer and you'd probably be having Alex Mitchell out on one of the wings, which would not be ideal from an England point of view. Scott Cummins leads all tacklers so far in the game with 13 tackles at 100%, followed by Rory Dodge and 12 tackles at 92% success. So technically, they both had 13 tackles to make. Dodge just missed one. Been a decent shift though, and I've been impressed by. I mentioned a few times, Gregor Brown though has been had a good outing. Fun fact about Gregor Brown, he's actually the cousin of Blake Kinghorn, who I think should be in the side. But now they're good to come here from penalty from England, and they have got a penalty advantage. This could be Elliot Miller-Mills in the bin. This could be a big moment, actually. I think, luckily for Elliot Miller-Mills, I think it's actually on the other side. I think it's Pierre Skuman. Now it's a warning across them. So penalty England, George Ford, as we move into the last 20 minutes of the match. Back on the front foot, England. If they're going to get anything out of this game, they've got to score soon. Because at the moment, it's 18 points difference, and I think they've lost it forward. Yeah, they have lost it forward. Which is not necessarily a win from Scotland because they just keep conceding penalties at scrum time. Almost, though, from England. Almost. They've had moments of England. They'll look back at this game, and they'll have moments. But it's accuracy. Mitchell showing go. And then just trying to get his hands free to pop it up to Ben Earl, losing it in contact. Big scrum now from Scotland. Just need to try and get this pump downfield. In, out. In fact, I mean, said that after all that, looks like a better Scottish scrum, actually. Looked like if they kept that in, they might have won themselves a penalty. But not taking any chances as Finn Russell just goes downfield and finds touch. He's been very good tonight, Finn Russell. The maestro in the Scottish side. And that was a big moment, to be fair, from Scotland. First time we've actually seen a scrum going forward. Good to line that from England. Ball comes out. Mitchell. Front foot ball. Goes short. And up it goes, and Costain takes it very well. Turnover ball here from Scotland. Big counter ruck coming, but ball is available. Big carry there from Rory Dodge. Good defense there from England, though. Not too many options yet. And it looks like George Horn's onto the park from the looks of it, I think. Yeah, it is indeed George Horn. Good player. I like him. Going to go to the boot here as Horn. Knocked backwards this time from England, and Ben all up against the touch line. Needs to stay in and does not. Very good defence there. Scotland will have the line just outside the 22. And they need more moments like that. I said now it's game management mode. 18 points means that England have to make all the plays here. So just defend, manage the game, send it deep, slow it down. Do all the small things you can just to get that victory. As Dave Cherry comes across to take the line out. Good line there. Looking for the rolling more here now, Scotland. I think more just taking up a bit of time here. Not really going forward here, Scotland, but keeping inside. Now they find a bit of space on the right-hand side. Dave Cherry controlling things at the back. Now they've got a bit of a run. Scrambling a bit here. Dave Cherry needs to find a way of that. He comes off to the side here. They don't need to release to England. But ball is available for George Horn inside the 22. Horn up. Gregor Brown. Skuman now, off gap. Within 5 meters. Tubelotta coming from deep. Surely this is it. Oh, it's a good tackle on Matt Ferguson. 2 meters out here, Scotland, though. Patience needed. Ball bobbles. No advantage. They'll go back for the penalty advantage they had. And he sees a bit of afters at the moment at the back there. Finn Smith's in there. Surely he's out there just trying to be calm, because there's no way Finn Smith's getting involved in a ruckus. $15 minutes left. This is perfect here from Scotland. They can just get to the corner. Broadcast commentators reckoning this could be the game. I mean, they're right. Scotland score here. I don't see a way back. That's basically it. Looking for the rolling more now. Here comes the back line. Carl Staines in there. Hugh Jones is in there. I'm pretty sure that's all Tubelotta going in there. George Horn's in there for whatever his 10 kgs can add. Dave Cherry there. Needs to remain patient. Dave Cherry. Short. How have England done that? Can they get the ball out? Pick up and go. Short again. Patience needed from Scotland here. Oh, is he over? Is he over? Just short again. Ball available. Matt Ferguson makes himself an option. Pick up and go. Once again, short. Throw to the backline. Why not? Pierre Skuman. Surely show and go. It is a show and go. Prop's never going to make a pass on that kind of distance. Another pick up and go. Going through the phases here. Good defense from England. Scotland remaining patient. Are we going to look to see the back line? No, Pierce Skuman once again. 7 phases here from Scotland. Horn still quite happy to keep within the forwards. Carl Staines calling it on the right-hand side. He said he's got space. But a penalty for sealing off. I mean, he said, I thought it should have gone to the back line. Should have given it a go. Should have thrown it out wide. Ben Earls managed to bring the man down, and then just seating off is the call here. It's a big moment. It's going to keep England in the game just. And I think it's Grant Gilchrist, Scott Cummings rather, who just loses his footing. And England do survive. Thought they should have just tried going out wide. They had an overlap. Now here comes Davison on for Joe Hayes in the number 18 jersey. Ford goes to the boot. Test out wide. Backwards to the call. Henry Pollock is there. And he's been tackled out the ball. No, I think the referee goes back and said there was a forward knock-on. So go back for the scrum. Just under 12 minutes left in the game. Finn Russell and Mitchell having a chat. There comes Spencer. Is he on for Alex Mitchell? Or is he on for somebody else? Given the fact that there's a 6-2 split and they've had to make one change already. Yeah, he is a deal on for Alex Mitchell. Right, so England put on the entire bench. Scotland, they've got Adam Hastings and Darcy Graham in the mix. The fact that Darcy Graham is not even playing it shows you. And Johan van der Merwe also. And Blake Kinghorn. I mean, those three literally would make a phenomenal back three. Very calm, very pensive Gregor Townsend. A very vocal Steve Borthwick. Well, very vocal box in Steve Borthwick's side. Please do smash like on the video, people, as well as subscribe to the channel as well. Some Six Nations rugby on a Saturday evening. 183 people watching, just 28 likes. Pretty awful in fairness from a conversion rate there. So you've got to up the ante. If you'd like to consider supporting the channel, please do consider becoming a member. It is the pinned link in the chat. Or you can send a super chat. Put your hot take in on there in Rusty's Coach's Corner. Consider becoming a member and supporting the channel. We'll be live once again next week, doing a featured Six Nations game every single weekend. Last week it was that phenomenal game, Ireland versus France. Actually been some really good games in the Six Nations so far. Scotland last week, beaten by England, by Italy, have responded by coming back and winning a scrum penalty there now, and potentially on the verge of winning the Calcutta Cup once again. They lost it last year for the first time in 5 attempts. England won the Calcutta Cup, and Scotland are right ready to say thank you very much. We'll have that back. This would make it 5 wins in the last 6 for Scotland against England in the Six Nations. It's a pretty impressive record. Just says, peacetime Pollock is getting smashed. Can't wait till Jasper Pierce Toy gets tasted of him. Hasn't had much to do, to be fair, as Pollock. He almost got through there with a kick and chase. But, yeah, hasn't really been able to get into the game as of yet. With the rolling more, yeah. Chibolato, Finn Russell. That's on the angle to Darcy Graham. He's just come on. Kick through. A couple of players back, though. Good work there being done by Jamie Dobie. All the way back to the halfway line of Scotland, but still with possession. That's the main thing, as Horn just slows things down. Keeps it nice and tight. Now Horn hoping to go to the boot. Carl Steyn gives chase. Big tackle there on Freddie Stewart. Nine minutes on the clock. If England are going to get anything out of this game, they're going to go try to score 2 tries, see if they can maybe leave with a bonus point. But France, pretty primed to be quite comfortable on top of that Six Nations log by tomorrow. If and when they beat Wales. It is in Wales, but at the moment, England 5 points, France 5 points, Scotland, as things stand, will go to 5 points as well. So after this game, there'll be 3 teams on 5 points. Italy with 4 points, Ireland with 4 points, Wales with 0. But tomorrow, France expected to go up to 10 points, which means that France-England game, or France-Scotland game, I suppose, in fairness, would become very, very big later on in the Six Nations. Your man of the match nominations are Rory Dodge, Hugh Jones, Carl Steyn, and Matt Ferguson. Out of those 4, I tell you what, Matt Ferguson's had a very good cameo. Hugh Jones has been very good, scored 2 tries. Rory Dodge, all really reasonable candidates. Cherry goes to Gregor Brown. Nice carry there coming from Ferguson. He's been so good since coming on. Very good cameo from the number 8. And Horn sends it downfield. What a take that is. Brilliant work there from Jamie Dobie. Presents well for Horn as well. Maybe Scotland looking to try and score the next try. Cherry. Finn Russell. Long pass out to Tupolotto. Tupolotto. Gets away from... No, gets held up by one. Good tackle that coming from. But going back for the penalty. Offside is the call. Darcy Graham wants to get going. Does it quickly as Darcy Graham. He sees a bit of space. Darcy Graham. Oh my God, look at the footwork. He's still going as Darcy Graham. No, it's how he used to arrive. Completely isolated. Will concede the penalty. I tell you what, he was almost too good there, was Darcy Graham. No one really expecting it and just ran away from the support, to be honest. Not the worst. Nothing to lose, everything to gain, I suppose. You know, probably would have taken the 3 points. Probably safer to have taken the 3 points to make it a 21-point game. I mean, the game's pretty much up and that. But I can understand. I mean, England were retreating, weren't really expecting it. They took it quickly, and Scotland just too slow to react. Dave Cherry and Finn Russell was there, but he just couldn't really hold it up enough. And Finn Russell up against 3 forwards is never going to secure your ball, unfortunately. Long pass, wide space out, but Carl Steyn comes up, makes good tackle, competed by Gregor Brown. Pollock now makes a few yards. Quick ball here from Ben Spencer. Past 10-meter lines, 5 phases here from England. Now to the right-hand side. Forward, goes to the cross kick. It's nobody there. And there's plenty of space to finish. Surely an inside ball. Darcy Graham makes a brilliant tackle. That's phenomenal there. I thought that was all for money at try time. 2-on-1. You've got Roebuck in the inside. Darcy Graham commits to the tackle, pushes him out. And moments like that, I think, is what has been the difference here. I mean, he's in acres of space. Absolute acres of space. Even with having to just pause for a moment. There's a man down. That's why there's a space. Jamie Dobie. But Darcy Graham puts his head down. Puts him out. That's a brilliant tackle. And here comes Adam Hastings on for Jamie Dobie. Oh, no, that's his elbow gone. Could be his collarbone as well, to be honest. He's walking on like this. Could very well be a collarbone there for Jamie Dobie. That's a heartbreaker for him. He's probably playing the best rugby of his career at the moment. And skew is the call. Scrum England. Oh, that's silly from Scotland. Really, really skinny. He's not going to cost them the game at this stage. But I don't think you needed to do that. Townsend now onto his feet. Down the right-hand side goes Ben Earl. Ben Earl! Ben Earl! I think it's been held up. It has been held up. Has been held up. Look at Tupolotto celebrating. Look what it means to him. Could very well be a goal line dropout. 4 minutes left on the clock. I think Hugh Jones has been named man of the match. I'm not mad at that either. What a game it was from him. Those 2 tries. In fact, he doesn't have much to do in most of them, but he's been very good. A couple of big tackles as well. Such a good player on his day, Hugh Jones. Deep from Finn Russell into the hands of Ben Earl. He's just been held up over the try line. Long pass out wide of Henry Pollock with a bit of space on the right-hand side. Pollock brought down right up against the touchline. Has he managed to stay in? He has. Spencer there, back inside. England on the front foot once again. And that should surely be a try. It is going to be Bendel into the corner. You felt like it was going to be an eventuality at the stage in the last 10 minutes. England finally get their first try of the half. 18 points now. Still got lots of work there to try and find a bonus point here. But they do have a try. Pretty relevant kick this, to be honest, from, I suppose, maybe not entirely. And does get it, does forward, because now a try would get them within 7. So they do score one more try. They can get themselves a losing bonus point, which in the grand scheme of things could be quite important, in fairness. 6 points compared to 5. France probably set to go to 10 tomorrow if they get a bonus point win against Wales. It's kind of a win they get a bonus point against Wales. Don't think anybody really backs them not to. And deep from Finn Russell. 90 seconds left on the clock. And try to keep it in. I think that's actually a Scotland. It's a knock on. It is a knock on from England. It'll be a Scotland feed. So maybe Scotland once again can have an opportunity to score the final points. So they'll have the pull-in, will Scotland, and I mean, at the moment they're just looking for cherry on top. Points difference at this stage, but they'll just check this out. 30 seconds to go. They'll just put this under, try and get it out. Maybe 1 or 2 phases, and happy days. 20 seconds left on the clock. Tupolotto will take contact. And there is the clock, right? That is it. One more phase there from Matt Ferguson. And then surely it's just kick it out. Surely, surely, surely. And it is. What a performance that is from Scotland. 31 points to 20 in the end. The score actually doesn't really do it justice because England were never really in the game. That is brilliant. That is the perfect response from Gregor Townsend's men. They needed a response. They got a response. And what a response it was. Right, final score there, people. 11 points the difference. What a performance it is from Scotland. It kind of does blow the Six Nations up a little bit. It'll be a big game when Scotland take on France. And England will probably need to beat France. So they're looking to try and probably have to beat Ireland as well to try and win the Six Nations. People, thank you very much for joining me throughout the afternoon and evening. Please do smash like on the way out. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. The England win streak is officially over. They've been brought crashing down to reality. Carl Steyn was a pretty impressive performance. And to be fair, I think Scotland all over were just very, very good. Thanks for watching. See you guys all next time. And until then, smash like on the video. Subscribe.